Meghan Markle just did the unthinkable. After days of relentless criticism over her Paris Fashion Week appearance, the Duchess of Sussex fired back in the most unexpected way possible. She posted a brand new video that has the entire internet in absolute meltdown. And here's the kicker. She didn't apologize. She didn't backtrack. Instead, sources claim she practically mocked the entire scandal, leaving royal experts and critics absolutely stunned. The video dropped without warning, and within hours it had racked up millions of views. People couldn't believe what they were seeing. Meghan, looking polished and composed, appeared to address the firestorm head-on, but not in the way anyone expected. Insiders whisper that her tone was defiant, almost playful, as if she was daring her critics to come at her harder. Some say she even smirked at one point, a subtle gesture that royal watchers are calling the ultimate power move. But what exactly did she say? Well, that's where things get murky. The video itself was cryptic, leaving just enough room for interpretation that both her supporters and her detractors are tearing it apart frame by frame. Some fans are hailing her as a queen who refuses to be silenced, while critics are calling it tone-deaf and borderline disrespectful. Either way, one thing is crystal clear: Meghan Markle is not playing by anyone's rules anymore. The timing couldn't be more explosive. Just days earlier, she had been dragged through the mud for two separate incidents in Paris. First, there was the footage of her filming herself from the back of a chauffeured car near the Pont de l'Alma tunnel, the very spot where Princess Diana lost her life. Then came the runway moment where she appeared to laugh at a model who stumbled during the Balenciaga show. Both incidents sparked outrage, with royal commentators questioning her judgment and sensitivity. And now, instead of issuing a carefully worded statement through her PR team or staying silent like most royals would, Meghan decided to clap back in her own way. The video is being dissected by everyone from tabloid journalists to body language experts, all trying to decode her message. Was it a calculated response? A moment of frustration? Or is this the real Meghan, finally stepping out from behind the palace-approved persona? What makes this even more fascinating is the ripple effect. The video has reignited debates about her role in the royal family, her relationship with Prince Harry, and whether she's capable of ever repairing ties with King Charles. Palace insiders are reportedly livid, with some suggesting this latest move has burned whatever fragile bridges remained. Others claim Harry is caught in the middle, torn between supporting his wife and managing the fallout. But that was just the beginning, because the Paris drama that sparked all of this is far darker than anyone initially realized. Let's rewind to where this entire mess started. Meghan Markle arrived in Paris for Fashion Week with all the confidence of a Hollywood A-lister ready to reclaim her spotlight. She was photographed at exclusive events, rubbing shoulders with fashion elites and soaking up the luxury of the European fashion scene. But then came the moment that turned everything upside down. Video footage surfaced showing Meghan filming herself from the back seat of a chauffeured luxury vehicle as it passed through the area near the Pont de l'Alma tunnel. For anyone unfamiliar, this isn't just any tunnel in Paris. This is the exact location where Princess Diana died in a tragic car crash back in 1997. The site remains a pilgrimage spot for Diana fans worldwide, a sacred memorial where flowers and tributes are still left decades later. When the clip hit social media, the reaction was instant and brutal. Critics immediately branded the moment as tone-deaf, insensitive, and shockingly inappropriate. Royal commentators questioned how Meghan could possibly think it was acceptable to film casual content so close to the site of such a devastating tragedy, especially given her connection to the royal family through her marriage to Diana's son. The backlash spread like wildfire. Twitter erupted with thousands of users calling out the Duchess for what they saw as a blatant lack of respect. Some accused her of using Diana's legacy for attention, while others suggested she was deliberately being provocative. Royal insiders reportedly described palace officials as horrified, with one source claiming the footage was seen as a slap in the face to the entire Windsor family. But Meghan's defenders were quick to jump in. Her supporters argued that she was simply enjoying her trip and that the tunnel is part of a major thoroughfare in Paris. They insisted people were reading far too much into an innocent moment, turning a normal car ride into a manufactured scandal. Some even suggested the criticism was rooted in bias, and that Meghan could do nothing right in the eyes of the British press. Still, the damage was done. The footage became headline news across tabloids in the UK, the US, and beyond. Royal experts weighed in on television panels, debating whether this was a genuine misstep or yet another example of Meghan's alleged disconnect from royal protocols. The consensus among critics? She should have known better. The location carries too much weight, too much history, and too much pain for this to be brushed off as coincidence. And here's where it gets even messier. Rumor has it that Prince Harry was blindsided by the backlash. Sources close to the couple claim he didn't even know she had filmed near the tunnel until the story exploded online. Whispers suggest he was furious, not at Meghan necessarily, but at the situation spiraling out of control yet again. But if people thought that was the worst of it, they had no idea what was coming next. Just when the tunnel controversy was reaching fever pitch, Meghan handed her critics an entirely new reason to come after her. This time, it happened live at the Balenciaga Spring-Summer 2026 show, one of the most anticipated events of Paris Fashion Week. Meghan had scored a front row seat, cameras trained on her every move, and she knew the world was watching. Everything seemed fine at first. She sat poised in a designer outfit, her expression carefully neutral as models strutted down the runway. But then came the moment that would be replayed thousands of times across social media. A model stumbled slightly on the catwalk, losing her footing for just a split second before recovering. It was a minor mishap, the kind of thing that happens occasionally in high-pressure runway shows. And Meghan laughed. The cameras caught it all. Her face broke into a smile, and what appeared to be a chuckle escaped as the model regained her balance. To some, it looked like a genuine moment of amusement. To others, it looked like mockery. Within hours, the clip had been uploaded, dissected, and turned into a full-blown scandal. Royal watchers were quick to pile on. They questioned how someone who constantly preaches compassion and kindness could laugh at another woman's embarrassing moment. Critics called it cruel, mean-spirited, and proof that Meghan's carefully crafted public persona was nothing more than an act. Some even drew comparisons to alleged bullying accusations from her time at Kensington Palace, suggesting this was yet another example of her true character slipping through. The narrative quickly spiraled. Social media erupted with think pieces and hot takes. Body language experts analyzed the footage frame by frame, claiming her laugh revealed arrogance and a lack of empathy. Tabloids ran headlines branding her as the Duchess who couldn't hide her contempt. Royal commentators suggested this was someone who had never truly understood the dignity and grace expected of someone in her position. But once again, Meghan's supporters fought back hard. They argued that the clip had been taken completely out of context, that a brief laugh didn't make someone a villain. Fans pointed out that everyone has natural reactions in the moment, and that expecting Meghan to sit stone-faced through an entire fashion show was unrealistic. Some even suggested the laughter could have been nervous or sympathetic rather than mocking. Still, the damage kept mounting. The combination of the tunnel footage and the runway laugh created a perfect storm of controversy. Critics began painting Meghan as someone obsessed with her own image, someone who films herself near sacred sites and laughs at others' misfortunes. The narrative was brutal, relentless, and inescapable, and that's when everything changed. Because instead of letting the criticism suffocate her, Meghan decided to do something no one saw coming. She posted that video, the one that has everyone talking, the one that suggests she's done playing defense. But what exactly did that video say? And why are palace insiders calling it a declaration of war? The video that Meghan posted didn't come with a long caption or a formal statement. It was short, sleek, and deliberately ambiguous, which only made it more explosive. Shot in what appears to be a high-end Parisian hotel suite, Meghan looks directly into the camera with an expression that can only be described as unbothered. Her hair is perfectly styled, her makeup flawless, and her energy absolutely electric. She opens with a line that immediately sets the tone. Sources who've seen the full clip claim she said something along the lines of how interesting it is that people spend so much time analyzing her every move while she's simply living her life. The phrasing was careful, calculated, but the subtext was clear. She wasn't apologizing. She wasn't backtracking. She was calling out the obsession. Body language experts have had a field day with this footage. They point to her posture, relaxed and confident, as a sign that she feels completely in control of the narrative. Her slight smile, the one that flashes across her face midway through, is being interpreted as either grace under pressure or outright mockery, depending on who you ask. Some see it as a woman standing her ground. Others see it as arrogance wrapped in a polished package. But here's where things get truly fascinating. Meghan never directly mentions the tunnel footage or the runway laugh. She doesn't need to. The timing of the video speaks for itself. By posting it right in the middle of the media frenzy, she's essentially acknowledging the controversies without giving them the power of a direct response. It's a PR move that's either genius or reckless, and royal experts are divided on which. Insiders claim the video was filmed and edited entirely without input from Archewell's PR team. Word on the street suggests that Harry wasn't even consulted before it went live. If true, that's a massive shift in how the Sussexes have handled public relations in the past. It signals that Meghan is taking full control of her narrative. Palace advisors be damned. The video ends with Meghan looking off camera, almost as if she's dismissing the entire conversation, before the screen fades to black. No call to action, no plea for understanding, just Meghan, on her terms, sending a message that she's done being cornered by critics. The reaction has been predictably chaotic. Her supporters are calling it iconic, a masterclass in owning your power and refusing to be bullied into silence. They're flooding comment sections with praise, celebrating what they see as a woman finally breaking free from the constraints of outdated royal expectations. But her critics? They're livid. They see the video as proof that Meghan has no respect for the institution she married into, no understanding of the gravitas required when you're connected to the crown. Palace insiders are reportedly in crisis mode. Sources whisper that senior royals view this video as a direct provocation, a sign that Meghan has no intention of ever playing nice face again. And the timing couldn't be worse, because behind the scenes, the power dynamics within Brand Sussex are shifting in ways no one saw coming. While the Paris drama dominated headlines, an entirely different story was brewing behind closed doors in Hollywood. Insiders are whispering that Meghan Markle has become the undisputed power player in the Sussex Netflix empire. And Prince Harry? He's been quietly pushed to the sidelines. Here's the tea. When Archwell Productions first signed that massive multi-year deal with Netflix, it was positioned as a partnership between equals. Harry and Meghan were supposed to be co-creators, co-producers, bringing their unique perspectives to projects that would change the streaming landscape. But according to sources close to the situation, that's not how things have played out at all. Prince Harry's solo projects have reportedly underperformed in ways that have Netflix executives concerned. His documentary series on mental health and his other passion projects, while well-intentioned, haven't delivered the viewership numbers the streaming giant was banking on. Industry insiders claim the content felt too niche, too serious, and frankly not engaging enough to justify the massive investment Netflix made in the couple. Meghan, on the other hand, has allegedly proven herself to be the real moneymaker. Sources suggest her media instincts are sharper, her understanding of what audiences want is more refined, and her ability to command attention is unmatched. Behind closed doors, Netflix executives are reportedly saying that Meghan is the reason they extended the Archwell deal at all. Without her star power and creative vision, the partnership might have quietly dissolved. This shift has sparked intense speculation about the dynamics within the Sussex marriage. Is Harry okay with taking a back seat? Or is there tension brewing as Meghan's profile continues to eclipse his? Royal commentators are having a field day with the narrative, suggesting that the prince who walked away from royal duties to build his own empire is now watching his wife build it instead. Word on the street suggests Meghan has taken on a much more hands-on role in every aspect of their Netflix projects. She's reportedly in meetings, shaping storylines, approving edits, and making creative decisions that Harry once might have led. Some insiders paint this as Meghan stepping up to save their brand. Others suggest it's a power grab, with Meghan positioning herself as the face of Archwell, while Harry fades into the background. The implications are staggering. If Netflix truly views Meghan as the valuable half of the Sussex deal, what does that mean for Harry's relevance in Hollywood? He left behind his royal identity, his military career, and is standing in the UK to forge a new path. But if that path is now defined entirely by his wife's success, where does that leave him? Critics are already weaponizing this narrative. They're painting Harry as lost, directionless, and increasingly dependent on Meghan's star power to stay afloat. Royal experts suggest this dynamic might be causing friction, not just professionally, but personally. And if that wasn't complicated enough, palace insiders claim Meghan's growing dominance is making reconciliation with the royal family nearly impossible. Behind the gilded doors of Buckingham Palace, a very different story is unfolding. While the world watches Meghan navigate Paris scandals and Netflix power plays, royal insiders claim she's the one person standing between the Sussexes and any hope of reconciliation with King Charles. And according to palace sources, it's not even close. Rumor has it that King Charles has made multiple attempts to open dialogue with his son and daughter-in-law. He reportedly wants to find a path forward, some kind of arrangement that could heal the fractured family dynamic before his reign becomes permanently defined by this ongoing feud. But every time progress seems possible, the talks allegedly hit the same wall. Meghan. Palace insiders whisper that formal reconciliation discussions were proposed earlier this year. The plan, according to sources close to the situation, involved clear boundaries being established. The royal family wanted agreements in writing, terms that would define how the Sussexes could engage with the monarchy, what they could and couldn't say publicly, and how future interactions would be handled. It was meant to provide structure, clarity, and protection for both sides. But Meghan reportedly refused to sign anything. Sources claim she pushed back hard, insisting that trust cannot be contracted or legislated. She allegedly argued that forcing her to agree to palace-approved terms was just another form of control, the exact thing she and Harry left the UK to escape. Her stance? Trust must be earned through actions, not demanded through paperwork. This position has allegedly infuriated senior royals. They view Meghan's refusal as proof that she has no real interest in reconciliation, that she's more invested in maintaining her victim narrative than in actually repairing relationships. One particularly brutal quote making the rounds in royal circles claims an unnamed palace insider called Meghan the key obstacle to any rapprochement, suggesting that without her cooperation, Harry is stuck in an impossible position. And here's where it gets even messier. Sources suggest that Harry himself might be more open to reconciliation than his wife. Whispers indicate he misses his family, misses the structure and sense of purpose that came with royal life, and worries about his children growing up completely disconnected from their heritage. But according to insiders, Meghan holds firm, and Harry won't move forward without her full support. Royal commentators are reading between the lines, suggesting that Meghan's influence over Harry has grown so strong that he's unable to make independent decisions about his own family relationships. Critics paint this as manipulation, claiming Meghan has isolated Harry from everyone who once mattered to him. Her supporters, however, argue she's simply protecting her husband from a toxic environment that damaged his mental health for years. Either way, the stalemate continues. King Charles reportedly feels helpless, unable to reach his son as long as Meghan remains unconvinced. Palace insiders claim the situation has become so tense that some senior royals have privately given up hope of ever seeing the Sussexes reintegrated into the fold. But just when it seemed Meghan had permanently closed the door on the UK, betting markets opened on a shocking possibility. Just when everyone assumed Meghan Markle had burned every bridge back to the UK, the rumor mill exploded with whispers of an unexpected return, and it's not for a quiet family visit or a behind-closed-doors reconciliation meeting. Sources speculate she might be planning a full-blown public appearance at London Fashion Week in February 2026. Betting markets have already opened on the possibility, with bookmakers offering 2-to-1 odds that Meghan will show up at the prestigious event. That's not just random speculation. Those odds suggest insiders believe there's a legitimate chance she'll make the trip, her first return to British soil since Queen Elizabeth's funeral back in 2022. The significance of that timing cannot be overstated. Here's why this would be such a monumental move. Meghan's Paris Fashion Week appearance reignited her profile in the European fashion world. She reminded everyone that she's still a major player, someone designers want in their front rows and someone the fashion press can't stop talking about. London Fashion Week would be the natural next step, a chance to cement her status as a global fashion icon on home turf. But calling it home turf is where things get complicated. Meghan hasn't set foot in the UK in years, and her relationship with the British public remains deeply fractured. Half the country would likely celebrate her return as a triumphant comeback, proof that she refuses to be exiled or silenced. The other half would see it as a provocation, an attention grab designed to overshadow the royal family and generate headlines at their expense. Industry insiders claim major fashion houses are already quietly reaching out to Meghan's team, gauging her interest in attending their London shows. The potential publicity would be massive. Her presence alone would guarantee global media coverage, sell-out crowds, and social media dominance. For designers looking to make a splash, having Meghan Markle in their front row would be pure gold. But the risks are equally massive. If Meghan returns to the UK and faces protests, hostile tabloid coverage, or public backlash, it could backfire spectacularly. Critics would paint her as tone-deaf, someone who can't read the room and doesn't understand that Britain has moved on without her. Royal experts suggest the palace would be furious, viewing a high-profile fashion event as the wrong context for her first UK return. Then there's the question of Harry. Would he accompany her, or would Meghan make this trip solo? Sources close to the couple suggest Harry might be hesitant, worried about the optics and the inevitable comparisons to his mother's relationship with the fashion world. But others claim Meghan doesn't need his permission or his presence. If she wants to go, she'll go. The speculation has already begun dominating royal gossip columns. Will she really do it? Will she risk the backlash for the sake of reclaiming her narrative? And if she does show up in London, what message would that send? But while the world debates her potential UK return, the real battle is happening online, where public opinion remains brutally divided. The internet has become an absolute war zone, and Meghan Markle is standing right in the center of it. Every move she makes, every video she posts, every fashion show she attends triggers an avalanche of reactions that split the public down the middle. There's no neutral ground anymore. You're either Team Meghan or you're against her, and both sides are fighting with everything they've got. Her supporters are fierce, passionate, and absolutely relentless in their defense. They see Meghan as a woman who escaped a toxic institution, rebuilt her life on her own terms, and refuses to bow to outdated expectations. To them, the Paris video wasn't arrogant or tone-deaf. It was empowering. It was a woman standing up to bullies and trolls who have made a career out of tearing her down. They flood social media with hashtags celebrating her courage, sharing clips of her speeches on feminism and resilience, and calling out what they see as blatant racism and misogyny in the criticism she receives. One viral tweet from a Meghan supporter summed it up perfectly, claiming that people hold her to impossible standards while giving others a free pass for far worse behavior. Her fans argue that she's scrutinized more harshly than any other royal, past or present, and that the double standard is rooted in her race, her American background, and her refusal to play the submissive royal wife role. But her critics, they're just as loud, just as organized, and just as convinced they're on the right side of history. To them, Meghan is calculated, manipulative, and obsessed with fame at any cost. They point to the tunnel footage and the runway laugh as proof that she lacks the grace and sensitivity expected of someone connected to the royal family. They accuse her of using Diana's legacy for personal gain while simultaneously disrespecting her memory. Royal commentators who've turned against Meghan have become some of her most vocal opponents. They dissect her body language, question her motives, and suggest that everything she does is part of a carefully orchestrated PR strategy designed to keep her relevant. Some even claim she's the one driving the wedge between Harry and his family, isolating him from everyone who cares about him. Social media platforms have become battlegrounds where these two camps clash daily. Comment sections turn into full-blown arguments. Trending topics swing between pro-Meghan hashtags and anti-Meghan takedowns. Influencers pick sides and build entire platforms around either defending or attacking her. It's relentless, exhausting, and shows no signs of slowing down. What's fascinating is how both sides can watch the exact same footage and come to completely opposite conclusions. The Paris video that supporters see as confidence, critics see as arrogance. The fashion show appearance that fans view as Meghan reclaiming her power, detractors interpret as attention-seeking behavior. There's no shared reality anymore, just two competing narratives that grow more entrenched with every controversy. And while the public tears itself apart debating Meghan's character, the real consequences are hitting where it hurts most. Brand Sussex is in trouble. While the world argues about Paris videos and Fashion Week drama, something far more serious is happening behind the scenes. Brand Sussex, the carefully crafted empire that Meghan and Harry built after leaving royal life, is starting to crack under the weight of constant controversy, and insiders whisper that the damage might be irreversible. Let's talk numbers. Archewell, the Sussex Foundation that was supposed to revolutionize philanthropy and media, has been under intense scrutiny. Reports suggest donations have slowed, partnerships have stalled, and some corporate sponsors are quietly reconsidering their associations. When your brand is built on compassion, authenticity, and positive change, constant scandals make those values harder to sell. The Netflix deal, once seen as their golden ticket to Hollywood relevance, is reportedly on shakier ground than anyone wants to admit. Industry sources claim executives are growing impatient with the constant tabloid drama overshadowing their content. Every time Meghan makes headlines for controversial reasons, it pulls focus away from the projects Archewell is trying to promote. That's not what Netflix signed up for when they wrote that multi-million-dollar check. Then there's Harry's mental health advocacy work, something he's genuinely passionate about and has invested years building. But critics argue that the constant Sussex drama undermines his message. How can Harry champion emotional well-being and healthy relationships when his own family situation remains a public disaster? Sources close to his charitable organizations suggest some partners are concerned about the optics, worried that association with the Sussexes brings more controversy than credibility. Whispers from Hollywood paint an even grimmer picture. Insiders claim that some A-list celebrities who once embraced Meghan and Harry are now keeping their distance. The constant negativity, the endless controversies, the exhausting public battles, it's all become too much. In an industry where image is everything, being too closely associated with the Sussexes has started feeling like a liability rather than an asset. Corporate brand partnerships are reportedly the next domino to fall. Sources suggest that companies who once jumped at the chance to work with Meghan are now hesitating, running risk assessments, and questioning whether the publicity would be worth the potential backlash. When your spokesperson generates as much hatred as admiration, the marketing calculus gets complicated fast. Royal experts are drawing comparisons to other celebrities who've seen their brands implode under similar circumstances. They point to the pattern of constant controversy, divided public opinion, and dwindling commercial appeal as warning signs that brand Sussex might be heading toward a crisis point. Some suggest that without a major course correction, the Sussexes risk becoming tabloid fixtures rather than serious players in media and philanthropy. And here's the part that nobody's saying out loud, but everyone's thinking. If the Sussex brand collapses, what happens to Meghan and Harry? Their entire post-royal identity is built on this foundation. Their relevance, their income, their ability to champion causes they care about, it all depends on brand Sussex remaining viable. The stakes have never been higher, the pressure never more intense. And the question everyone's asking is simple but terrifying: what happens next? So here we are, Meghan Markle standing at a crossroads that could define the rest of her public life. On one side, there's the path of continued defiance, posting videos that mock her critics, attending high-profile events that generate controversy, and refusing to bend to anyone's expectations. On the other, there's the possibility of strategic retreat, reconciliation attempts, and a softer approach to rebuilding her image. But which path will she choose? Palace insiders are reportedly bracing for the worst. Sources claim senior royals believe Meghan has no intention of backing down, that her Paris video was just the opening shot in what could become an all-out media war. If she truly does show up at London Fashion Week in February, it would signal that she's done playing defense and ready to reclaim British territory on her own terms. Palace approval be damned. But there's another scenario royal experts are quietly discussing. What if the mounting pressure finally becomes too much? What if corporate sponsors start pulling out, Netflix decides not to renew, and brand Sussex collapses under the weight of endless controversy? In that scenario, Meghan might have no choice but to change course, soften her approach, and attempt some form of reconciliation just to survive. Harry's role in all of this remains the biggest question mark. Is he fully on board with Meghan's strategy, or is he privately worried about the direction things are heading? Sources close to the prince suggest he's caught between loyalty to his wife and concern for his family legacy. Some whisper that he's starting to realize the cost of their choices, that burning every bridge might have left them more isolated than empowered. The Netflix contract extension is reportedly contingent on the Sussexes delivering content that actually resonates with audiences, not just generates headlines. If their next projects flop, industry insiders claim the streaming giant will quietly let the partnership expire. That would be devastating, stripping away their primary source of income and Hollywood credibility in one blow. Then there's the reconciliation question hanging over everything. Will Meghan ever agree to sit down with King Charles and hash out some kind of peace treaty? Or has that ship sailed permanently, the damage too deep and the resentment too strong? Palace sources seem increasingly pessimistic, suggesting that as long as Meghan refuses to compromise, the family rift will only widen. The ultimate irony? Meghan left the royal family seeking freedom, control over her narrative, and escape from constant scrutiny. Yet here she is, more analyzed, more criticized, and more trapped by public opinion than ever before. Every move is dissected, every video is weaponized, every fashion show becomes a scandal. So what do you think? Is Meghan a woman bravely standing her ground against impossible standards, or is she sabotaging her own future with reckless choices? Will she double down on defiance, or finally seek some kind of peace? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and make sure you subscribe because the next chapter of this saga is coming fast. And trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next.